Hello, hello. Hey there, hey there. Welcome into another edition of Between the Lines. I'm Josh Ellis, editor-in-chief of Success Magazine. We are diving deep, wink, wink, into the September-October issue with another story by Matt Crossman. Matt, welcome back. Second time on Between the Lines for this issue. And this one is our Making a Difference story. It's on Michael Phelps, former Olympic hero. We all have Olympic fever right now, but this is his second Olympiad that he hasn't participated in. He's making a pretty big contribution out of the pool as well.
Yeah, his story is really remarkable. I don't know if there's very many people who have had such a massive contrast between worldly success and internal struggle, and his willingness to talk openly about that, I think, is extremely valuable. Far more important than anything he did in the pool.
Yeah, and there are a few people who are open about it, but I think that if we understand humans a little bit, we know that like most of us have some sort of internal turmoil or struggle or a personal life that's not in perfect alignment, and we all go through things, and it takes somebody really strong and secure in themselves to speak up in that way and help other people. And he's doing that, and I really, he called himself in the story, he's working to become a better optimist. I think that's a really interesting wrinkle to it.
Yeah, he is not he does not view the world through rose-colored glasses. He struggles with anxiety and depression, and he it has taken some intentional steps that I think readers could take some great value from, that he has learned over the years, that his optimism is a result to some degree, not entirely, but to some degree, of his habits, that if he has positive habits and he sticks with them, his days turn out better. A good night's sleep, drinking the right amount of water, eating well, and exercise are all important triggers. I think that's a fair term for him in terms of his level of optimism. That if he doesn't get the right amount of exercise, doesn't drink the right water, he's going to have a rough day. He's learned that by experience. So he's pretty intentional about making sure those things are taken care of.
To perform at the level that he did in the pool for so long, like, you have to be to a T, like, on top of your physical habits. And so maybe it's not surprising that that same approach is so important to him now. And it really reinforces that we all have to take care of our sleep and exercise. And, sometimes when I'm not feeling well, it doesn't occur to me right away, but then I'm like, oh yeah, I've been staying up until midnight lately.
Interesting that you bring that up. I happen to be working on a sleep project now, and I was just looking at some numbers, but the first week that I was working on this, I was getting about 6.5 hours of sleep a night, that for a full week. I made a whole bunch of intentional changes to try to correct that. And this week I'm over 8. Now granted, it's Wednesday morning, Tuesday morning. So I've only got 3 nights of average to compare that to, but month to month, I'm up by 40 minutes a night. And that's simply by being intentional. And I feel the difference is night and day. Mentally, physically, everything.
There was a subtext to this story that ended up not making it into print, just space considerations that happens from time to time. But he's actually working, in a sort of a mentorship capacity with some young entrepreneurs, is he not?
Yeah, that's through, it's called the Colgate Optimism Project. And so he sort of sat in on, like a roundtable discussion with a bunch of very young entrepreneurs whose projects are all, community oriented. It's not just, build a bigger, faster widget. It's, make the community a better place. And he came away from that pretty energized and saw in them a little bit of himself back in the day, where their drive may not be shaving, microseconds off of their butterfly stroke time, but they had the same kind of passion and drive to excel as he once had. So I think he was pretty encouraged by what he saw there.
That was where you got the chance to meet him and interview him for the story. I guess he's a fascinating case for me, and a lot of athletes are, because they reach what even they know and admit will be the apex of achievement in their lives, and then they still have to live for another 60 or 70 years.
Yeah.
And there's a inherent reinvention that has to happen. What do you make of him compared to so many of the other great athletes that you've profiled over the years? You go way back to working at the Sporting News.
I think you make a great point. That is a topic that has fascinated me forever, in terms of athletes, that they reach this just incredible level of fame and renown based on an incredible amount of hard work, dedication, God-given gifts, all that. And then it just goes away. That part of their life just ends. And I don't know how intentional he is about saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. But pretty clearly, his focus on being transparent about mental health, that's going to, I think, is going to transcend whatever he does in the pool, because there is always, yes, he has set records that are probably never going to be broken, but there's always another superstar. There's always another person for us to obsess over. Simone Biles will be that person this year. But for years now, he has been an outspoken advocate about mental health and taking care of yourself. And I think that's, as second acts go, it's going to be hard for him to top that. That's pretty admirable.
All right, Matt, enjoyed the story. Thanks for sharing it with all the readers. Thanks for being here again on Between the Lines, and we'll do it again soon.